The cold cavern lay on the cold stone floor, her small body curled tight. Her skin was pale and thin. Her arms were marked with bruises. She had not eaten in 2 days. Around her, the darkness moved. She could hear the soft scratching sounds. The monsters were waking up. YNN knew this place well. It was called the Black Hollow. Her people had brought her here when the city was attacked. They told her she would only slow them down. They left her with nothing. No food, no light, no hope. She tried to be brave. She tried not to cry, but when the scratching came closer, her heart began to beat fast. She could feel them in the shadows. They were large, with hard shells and many legs. They had no eyes, but they could smell fear. Rin pressed her hand over her mouth so they would not hear her breathing. She wished she could disappear. Far away, in another tunnel, a human named Evan walked carefully. He held a small light in his hand. He was tired and hungry, but he could not stop. He had come to this planet as part of a research mission when his ship crashed. He was separated from his crew for 3 days. He searched for a way out. Now, he heard something, a sound that did not belong to the monsters. It was a soft, broken sob. Rin did not hear the footsteps. She was too busy trying not to scream. One of the creatures was very close now. She could feel the air moving as it crawled toward her. She closed her eyes. In her mind, she saw her mother's face. Her mother had always told her she was too weak to slow. Now, she believed it. She was sure this was the end. The creature made a clicking sound. It was so close she could feel its hot breath on her skin. YNN whispered a single word, please. She did not know who she was speaking to, but someone heard. Evan turned a corner and lifted his light. He saw her, a small alien girl lying on the floor. Her eyes closed tight. He saw the creature above her, ready to bite. Hey, he shouted. His voice echoed through the cave. The creature lifted its head. Evan did not wait. He pulled a flare from his belt and struck it against the wall. A bright red light filled the space. The creature screamed and backed away, its legs scraping over the rocks. YNN opened her eyes. For a moment, she did not understand what she was seeing. A human. No one from her world would have come back for her. Evan stepped closer. Are you hurt? He asked in a calm voice. Rin tried to answer, but no sound came out. Her throat was too dry. Her body too weak. It's okay, he said. I'm here to help you. She shook her head. No one helped her. She did not trust this. No, she whispered. Evan looked around. The monsters were still watching from the shadows. He did not have time to argue. I won't leave you, he said firmly. He reached down and lifted her into his arms. Rin tried to push him away, but her hands had no strength. Put me down, she gasped. Can't do that, Evan said. We have to go. He turned and started walking back the way he came. Behind them, the creatures began to crawl forward again. Rin felt tears fill her eyes. She was sure this human was making a mistake. She was nothing. Weak, not worth saving. But as he carried her, she felt something she had never felt before. Safe. For the first time, she wondered if maybe the stories about humans were wrong. Maybe they were not monsters. Maybe they were the only ones who cared. As the red light faded behind them, Rin rested her head against Evan's chest. She closed her eyes and let herself believe, just for a moment, that she might live. But deep in the cave, the monsters began to follow. They were not finished. They would never be finished until she was gone. And soon, Evan would see that saving her meant fighting them all. The shelter. Evan moved fast through the narrow tunnel, holding Rin close to his chest. Her small body felt light, like she had not eaten in many days. Every few steps, he looked back. He could hear the creatures behind them. Their sharp legs scraped over the stones. Their breathing was low and hungry. YNN opened her eyes. For a moment, they are coming, she whispered. I know, Evan said. His voice was calm, but inside, he was afraid. He had never seen creatures like these, and he did not know how many there were. He only knew he could not stop. The tunnel grew smaller, pressing in on both sides. Evan's shoulder brushed the rough stone. He kept walking, his heart beating fast. Hold on, he told her. YNN. She did not answer. Her eyes were closed again. He felt her weak breath against his neck. He knew she would not survive much longer without food and water. He had to find a safe place to rest. After what felt like hours, he saw a narrow crack in the wall. He stepped closer and lifted his light. Behind the crack was a small hollow space. He could not see the end of it, but he knew it was better than standing in the open tunnel. He turned sideways and slipped inside, careful not to hit Rin's head on the rock. The space was cold, but quiet. He knelt down and set Rin gently on the ground. Her eyes fluttered open. Why are you helping me?" she asked. Her voice was thin and tired. Evan looked at her for a long moment. "Because no one deserves to be left alone," he said simply. Her lips moved like she wanted to argue, but no sound came out. He reached into his pack and pulled out a small water pouch. He held it to her mouth. "Drink," he said. She turned her face away. "No. You need for yourself," she whispered. "I have more." He lied. She looked at him with wide, doubtful eyes, but when he pushed the pouch closer, she took a small sip. Her throat moved as she swallowed. She drank again and again. When she was done, her eyes were wet. "Thank you," she whispered. He nodded. Outside the crack, the sound of scraping grew louder. Evan turned off the small light. The darkness swallowed them both. But he listened, counting the heartbeats between each sound. The creatures moved slowly, searching the walls. He held his breath. Rin felt his hand, close over hers. She did not pull away. In that moment, she realized she was not as alone as she thought. They stayed silent for a long time. Finally, Rin spoke again. "You are human?" she asked. "Yes," he said. "Humans are dangerous," she whispered. He did not answer right away. "Some are," he said, "but not all." "Why? Come here," she asked. "Exploring," he said. "Our ship crashed. You should leave me," she whispered. "I am weak." He shook his head, even though she could not see it. "You are still alive," he said. "That means you are strong." Her breath caught. No one had ever called her strong. A sudden sound made them both jump, a low growl. Deeper than the others. Something large moved past the crack, its shadow blocking even the faint light from far away. Rin squeezed his hand. Evan held his breath. Again, waiting for it to pass. The growl faded into silence. He let out the air slowly. "We can't stay here," he whispered. "Where will we go?" Rin asked. "Up," he said. "Somewhere the monsters can't climb." "They always come," she said. "Then we keep moving," he said. He turned the light back on, just for a moment. He looked into her eyes. "Trust me," he said. Her lips trembled. "I will try," she whispered. That was enough. Evan picked her up again, careful not to hurt her. As he stepped out of the crack, he felt her small hand grip his shirt. She was still afraid. So was he. But together, they would keep moving, because neither of them wanted to be left in the dark again. The broken Pastevan walked slowly, careful not to slip on the damp stones. He carried Rin in his arms. She was lighter than any child he had ever held. Sometimes he felt her breath grow shallow, and he worried she would stop breathing altogether. He tried not to think about that. He tried to focus on each step, each small moment. He knew if he stopped, the fear would take over. After a long time, he found a place where the tunnel grew wider. There was a flat shelf of rock about waist high. He set Rin down gently and looked around. It was dark except for the small light in his hand. He listened. No sounds of monsters. Only the slow drip of water from the ceiling. He sat down beside her. "Rest," he said softly. "No," she whispered. "We must keep going." He shook his head. "You can't walk," he said. "You need to get stronger." Her eyes filled with tears. "I will slow you down," she said. "You already have," he said calmly. Her lip trembled. He reached out and touched her hand, and "I don't care," he added. She looked away so he wouldn't see her cry. They sat together in the quiet. After a while, Rin spoke again. "You should know what I am," she whispered. "You're Rin," Evan said. "I am not like the others," she said. "What do you mean?" he asked. She swallowed hard. "My people, they left me here because I was born weak," she said. "Weak how?" he asked gently. "My heart," she said. "It beats wrong. Sometimes I cannot breathe." He listened without interrupting. "They said I would waste food," she continued, her voice shaking. "So when the monsters came, they told me to stay behind," she whispered. Evan closed his eyes for a moment. "I'm sorry," he said. "Don't be," she said. "They were right." He turned to look at her. Double quotes, "No," he said firmly. "They were cowards." Her eyes widened. You were a child. He said. They were supposed to protect you. Her mouth opened, but no words came. No one had ever said that to her. She wiped her cheek with her thin hand. What about you? She asked in a small voice. He took a slow breath. I was part of a team, he said. We came to study the caves. Did they leave you? She asked. No, he said. Our ship crashed. I got separated. Are you looking for them? She asked. Yes, he said. But first, I had to help you. Why? She asked. He looked at her. Because you were alone, he said simply. She did not know what to say to that. They were quiet for a long time. Then, from deep in the tunnel, a low rumble echoed. Rin's eyes went wide. That is not the small ones, she whispered. Evan felt his stomach twist. What is it? He asked. The big one, she said. The one that eats the others. He stood up slowly, listening. The sound was coming closer. He turned off the light. The darkness wrapped around them like a cold blanket. Rin began to tremble. It will smell us, she whispered. Evan reached for her hand. I won't let it take you, he said. She shook her head. You can't stop it, she said. He squeezed her hand. Maybe, he said, but I'll try. The rumble grew louder. Stones fell from the ceiling as the thing moved through the tunnels. Evan felt Rin's small fingers grip his as hard as she could. In that moment, he knew he would rather die than leave her behind. He did not understand why. He only knew that she was no longer just an alien girl. She was someone he could not fail. As the ground shook, Rin turned her face toward him. Her eyes were wide and wet. I'm sorry, she whispered. For what? He asked. For being a weak, she said. He shook his head in the dark. You are not weak, he said. But in his heart, he feared this would be the last thing he ever told her. The tunnel grew silent for a moment. Then the darkness moved, and the big one came. Asterisk, the monster's lair. Darkness felt alive. Evan held Rin close to his side, listening. The tunnel was silent except for the slow, heavy breathing of the thing that moved somewhere ahead. He could feel each breath in the cold air. Her YNN was shaking. Her small hand clung to his arm. It is hunting, she whispered. Where can we go? He asked. No place is safe, she said. He closed his eyes, thinking fast. He knew he could not fight something that big in the open tunnel. He needed higher ground, somewhere the creature could not reach them. He turned on the small light for just a second. The beam showed a narrow ledge above their heads. It looked just wide enough to sit. Hold tight, he whispered. Before she could ask, he lifted her in his arms. Her heart beat fast against his chest. He placed one foot on a small crack in the wall and pulled himself up. Stones fell under his boots, but he kept climbing. Below, the deep breathing stopped. He knew the creature had heard. With one last push, he reached the ledge. He set Rin down carefully. She pressed her back to the cold rock. Eyes wide, Evan turned off the light. Darkness swallowed them again. He wrapped one arm around her to keep her from falling. She did not pull away. It's coming, she whispered. He listened. The breathing started again, louder this time. The sound moved closer, filling the tunnel. Stones scraped under heavy feet. Evan could almost feel the creature's heat. He kept his hand over Rin's mouth so she would not cry out. She closed her eyes and held his wrist tight. The creature stopped below. Then for a long moment, nothing moved. Evan held his breath. He felt Rin's chest rise and fall under his arm. Then a sound filled the tunnel, a deep sniffing, like the creature was testing the air. Its voice was a wet growl. Slowly, it moved again. The ground shook as it stepped away. Evan did not move. He waited until he could no longer hear the breathing. Only then did he take his hand from Rin's mouth. She let out a slow, shaking breath. We cannot stay here, she whispered. I know, he said. It will come back, she said. I know, he repeated. He turned the light on, shielding it so it would not shine far. From the ledge, he could see more of the cave. His heart sank. Bones covered the floor. Giant bones. Small bones. Some still had scraps of flesh. Or YNN followed his gaze. This is its nest, she whispered. He closed his eyes. Of all the places to hide, he had found the monster's lair. Rin began to tremble again. We have to go, she said. We will, he said. You don't understand, she said. Her voice was shaking. If it smells fresh blood, it will not leave, she whispered. He looked down at her thin hands. Her left palm was bleeding from a cut he had not noticed. The blood was dark against her pale skin. His stomach turned cold. Wrap this, he said. She looked up at him with wide eyes. I have nothing, she whispered. He pulled a strip of cloth from inside his coat. He wrapped her hands slowly, trying to keep his own fingers steady. Better? He asked. She nodded, but they both knew the scent was already in the air. He looked across the cave. On the far side, a narrow passage climbed upward. He could not see where it led, but it was the only way out. We have to reach that tunnel, he said. Rin did not answer. Her face was pale, her breathing shallow. Look at me, he said. Her eyes opened slowly. I know you are tired, he said. I can't, she whispered. Double quotes. Yes, he said. You can. She tried to shake her head, but he held her gaze. Rin, he said softly, you are still alive. That means you are strong. Her lips parted, but no sound came. He took her hand and held it tight. I will not leave you here, he said. For a long moment, she just looked at him. Then she nodded once. He lifted her again and turned toward the passage. As he climbed down from the ledge, the stone shifted under his boots. The sound echoed like a bell. Far behind them, the breathing returned. Louder, faster. Rin hid her face against his chest. It knows, she whispered. Then we run, he said. He did not look back. He ran. And the monster roared. The escape even ran as fast as he could. Rin's arms were tied around his neck. Her small body was so light it felt like carrying a child. Behind them, the monster's roar filled the tunnel. The sound was so loud it shook dust from the ceiling. Stones fell around them, hitting Evan's shoulders and back. He did not stop. He did not look back. He kept his eyes on the narrow passage ahead, where the rocks climbed toward the unknown. The tunnel floor was uneven. Sharp bones and broken pieces of shell littered the path. Evan's boots slipped, but he caught himself every time. Rin did not speak. He knew she was too afraid, but he felt her heart beating fast against his chest. He knew she was alive. And that was enough to keep moving. As he reached the start of the passage, he heard the monster's feet pounding behind them. He risked one glance over his shoulder. The creature was huge, taller than any man. Its shell was dark and cracked. Its mouth opened wide, lined with rows of jagged teeth. It screamed, and the sound stabbed into his ears like a knife. Rin buried her face in his coat. Don't look, he whispered. He turned and climbed up the rocks. The passage was narrow, barely wide enough for his shoulders. He pressed forward, pulling himself over each ledge with shaking arms. Rin clung to him, her breathing ragged. Almost there, he said, though he did not know if it was true. Behind them, the creature slammed into the rocks, trying to follow. The walls shook. Stones cracked and fell. Evan slipped and hit his knee hard on the stone. Pain shot up his leg. He gritted his teeth and kept going. He reached a flat space where the tunnel turned. He set Rin down just for a moment. Her face was pale. Rest here, he said. She shook her head. It will come, she whispered. I know, he said. He turned on the small light and searched the walls. He needed something, anything to slow the monster down. His eyes fell on a long, sharp bone lying among the rubble. He picked it up. The end was splintered into a jag point. Rin's eyes widened. You can't fight it, she said, her voice thin. I have to try, he said. The ground shuddered again. He turned off the light. In the darkness, he crouched beside her. Listen to me, he whispered. If I can't stop it, you have to climb, he said. I can't, she said. You have to, he said firmly. Tears slid down her cheeks. I don't want to be alone, she whispered. He touched her cheek gently. You won't be, he said. She covered his hand with her own. Her fingers were cold, but he felt them tremble with life. The monster's roar shook the passage. Stones crashed down behind them. Evan stood and faced the darkness. He held the bone tight in both hands. He heard the creature dragging itself forward, filling the tunnel with its heavy body. Its hot breath blew across his face. He felt its hunger. He felt its rage, but he did not move. He waited. The creature lunged. Evan stepped to the side and drove the bone forward with all his strength. He felt it strike something soft. The creature screamed. Thick liquid poured over his hands. He pushed harder, driving the bone deeper. The creature thrashed, slamming its body into the walls. Stones broke free and rained down. Rin screamed. Evan pulled the bone free and swung again. This time, the creature fell back, crashing into the tunnel floor. The ground shook so hard that Evan fell to his knees. He gasped for air, his arms shaking. But he did not drop the bone. He turned to RYNN. Her eyes were wide, full of fear and something else. Hope. Go. He gasped. Climb. She crawled to his side. Not without you, she said. He reached for her hand. Together they pulled each other up the next ledge. Behind them, the creature let out a final, broken roar. Then the tunnel fell silent. They climbed higher, step by step. Neither of them spoke, but when Evan looked at Ren, he saw something new in her eyes. She no longer looked like a girl who believed she was weak. She looked like someone who had survived, someone who would never give up again, and in that moment, he knew they had already escaped the worst thing of all, giving up hope. Asterisk. The long walk tunnel grew narrow again as Evan and Ren climbed higher. The air felt cleaner, less heavy with the smell of monsters, but every step made Evan's legs ache. His arms were tired from carrying Ren. His chest hurt from breathing in the dust. But he did not stop. He could not. Ren tried to help as much as she could. Sometimes she used her thin hands to pull herself forward. Sometimes she rested her cheek against Evan's shoulder and closed her eyes. Her breath was soft and weak. Every time it slowed, Evan's heart beat faster in fear. Stay awake, he whispered. She opened her eyes and nodded. I'm trying, she said. After a long time, they reached a place where the tunnel opened into a small chamber. Light from glowing blue moss covered the walls. For the first time, Evan could see Ren's face clearly. Her skin was pale as moonlight. Her lips were dry and cracked. He set her down gently against the wall. Rest, he said. No, she whispered. We must keep going. Just a minute, he said. He pulled a water pouch from his pack and held it to her mouth. She drank slowly, her eyes never leaving his. Why do you care? She asked softly. He looked at her, surprised. Because someone has to, he said. No one ever has. She said. He reached out and took her small hand. Then let this be the first time, he said. They rested in silence. The blue moss made the chamber feel almost peaceful, but Evan knew they could not stay here. Sooner or later, more monsters would come. He checked the small beacon on his wrist. The screen was cracked, but the signal light still blinked slowly. He had activated it when they climbed higher. He hoped someone from his crew would see it, but he did not know if there was anyone left to see. What is that? Ren asked, pointing at the beacon. Signal, he said. It tells my people where I am. Will they come? She asked. He looked at the blinking light. I don't know, he said honestly. She nodded. You could leave me here, she whispered. I won't, he said. Her eyes filled with tears. Why not? Because you are my friend now, he said. She covered her face with her hands and began to cry. Evan did not speak. He just sat beside her, waiting. After a while, she wiped her cheeks. I want to live, she whispered. That we keep moving, he said. She looked at him with tired eyes. Okay, she said. He lifted her again and stepped into the next tunnel. The blue light faded behind them. The darkness grew thick again. But this time, it felt less cold because they were not alone. Hours passed. Sometimes they stopped so Ren could drink or breathe. Sometimes Evan set her down so he could stretch his aching arms. But every time he asked if she wanted to rest longer, she shook her head. No, she said softly. We go. He smiled each time she said it. She was braver than anyone he had ever known. At last, the tunnel ended in a wall of fallen rocks. Evan felt despair rise in his chest. He set Ren down and touched the stones. They were loose. He pulled at one. It shifted and fell away with a soft thump. A small beam of golden light shone through the crack. Ren's eyes went wide. What is that? She whispered. Daylight, he said, his voice shaking. He pulled another stone, then another. Soon the hole was wide enough to see a bright sky. He turned to her. Help me, he said. She crawled forward and used her thin hands to push at the rocks. Together, stone by stone, they made the hole bigger. The warm air rushed in, filling the tunnel with the smell of fresh wind. RYNN closed her eyes and took a deep breath. For the first time in her life, she felt hope fill her chest. Evan pulled her close and hugged her tight. We're almost out, he whispered. She nodded against his shoulder. Her tears soaked into his coat. Thank you, she said. He rested his cheek against her hair. No, he whispered. Thank you for not giving up. Above them, the signal beacon blinked faster. Help was coming, and this time, no one would be left behind. The rescue even pulled the last stone from the opening. Sunlight poured into the tunnel. It was warm on his skin after so many cold, dark hours. Her YNN raised her hand to shield her eyes. She had never seen the sky so close. It was bright blue, with white clouds moving slowly above them. She took a deep, shaky breath. It's beautiful, she whispered. Yes, Evan said softly. It is. He stepped forward and lifted her carefully. Her arms wrapped around his neck. Together, they climbed through the hole. The rock scraped his boots, but he did not care. All that mattered was getting her out. When they reached the top, he set her down on the soft grass. For a moment, neither of them spoke. They just looked around. The cave entrance was hidden among tall stones. No monsters crawled in the sunlight. It felt like another world. Her YNN closed her eyes and turned her face to the sky. The warm wind lifted her hair. She felt the sun touch her skin. She felt alive. You did it, she whispered. Evan sat beside her. We did it, he said. She looked at him. Her eyes were wide and wet. I would have died down there, she said. But you didn't, he said gently. Only because of you, she said. He shook his head. You never stopped trying, he said. That was you. A soft beep came from the beacon on his wrist. The small light flashed bright green. Rin looked down at it. What does that mean? She asked. Someone got the signal, he said. They're coming. Her eyes grew wide. Humans? She asked. My crew, he said. Will they help me too? She whispered. He reached for her hand and squeezed it gently. Yes, he said. They will. Minutes passed slowly. Rin rested her head on his shoulder. Her breathing was still, weak, but her face looked peaceful. Far above them, a small shape appeared in the sky. It grew bigger as it came closer. Look, Evan said. Rin opened her eyes. She saw a human ship with bright lights under its wings. It moved over the rocks, engines humming softly. She felt her heart beat faster. They really came, she whispered. I told you, he said. The ship landed on the grass with a soft thud. The door opened, and the humans in white suits stepped out. One of them lifted a hand in greeting. Evan, the man called. We thought you were gone. Evan stood, still holding Rin's hand. Almost, he called back. The humans ran to them. Their eyes went to Rin, who tried to sit up straighter. Who is she? The woman asked gently. Her name is Rin, Evan said. She needs help. The woman knelt and touched Rin's thin wrist. We will help you, she said softly. Rin's lip trembled. Thank you, she whispered. They lifted her onto a small stretcher. Evan climbed into the ship beside her. He sat so close that their shoulders touched. As the engine started to lift them into the air, Rin turned her head to look at him. Her eyes were bright and tired. Why did you save me? She asked one last time. He looked into her eyes. Because you were never weak, he said. Her tears slid down her cheeks. No one had ever called her strong before, but now she believed it. The ship rose higher and higher. Through the window, Rin watched the dark cave grow smaller until it disappeared. She felt something new in her heart, something like hope. She did not know where they would go next. She did not know if her people would ever want her again, but she knew one thing. She was not alone, and she never would be again. Evan reached over and took her hand. She held it tight. Together, they looked out at the wide sky, knowing they had escaped the darkness, knowing they had found something brighter, something worth living for.